Yo, what up, what up, what up? It's the Saint No One YouTube podcast. I took a break. I really don't feel like there's much more for me to go over in things that I see, because I see so many things now. You know, as I grow and I expand in awareness and grow spiritually. The videos that I released before are maps. Maps and notes, okay? The technique I predominantly use to communicate concepts, epiphanies, and a spiritual growth, okay, are somewhat as soliloquies and parables. And that's wisdom coming down, all right, from heaven, which is in another dimension, okay? Now, it's beyond the fourth dimension, it's beyond the fifth dimension, okay? You know, and you expand outside of that, and there's approximately 8 to 9 cubes, okay? And this massive diamond that we're inside of. The technological structure of the diamond is called Lucifer. All right? The diamond next to Lucifer is Michael. All right? It's like Death Star, only it's a diamond shape, all right? Or as your pyramid, right? Only it hangs in a dimension, all right? There's 2 of them, all right? Just beyond the way, there are 2 red, long picnic tables. The angel sat at the first table, and at the second table, that is where me and my brother sat, and at the end of the table were the dragons. And then there was the gray aliens. And then there was me. And yeah, it was me. I sat next. And I usually sat on top of the table, facing the table with the angels. And I was a minion dude. You know, from like Despicable Me. And next to me sat my little sister. And we called her Cricket. All right? She had a red dress on, and her name is Cricket. She got 2 antennas. She's like a gray alien. She got 2 antennas. she's a baby. Okay. We came into this cube. I asked the angels if we could play a video game. We all got excited about playing the video game, and I tried to sit over there and listen to the angels speak, you know, about different things, and their minds were so far beyond in wisdom that in about 5 seconds I got up, and as I walked over back to the second long red picnic table, I collapsed. And the angels laughed, because that is how high of a conversation that they were having. It was so far beyond my mind that I couldn't even grasp the tiniest of understanding to hold my weight in that conversation. My mind was blown. But anyhow, they set up the cubes for us, and we went into Michael's first, and we played a game that was about solving puzzles and what have you, and it was a train. I remember the train part of the game, and the game master of that game was the young lady that starred in John Wick 3 or John Wick 2, and she fought with the knives, okay? She also starred in Orange is the New Black. She was the game master, and she wore the suit just the same as she wore it in John Wick 2. It was the same type of suit. It was purple. And anyways, we would solve puzzles and things of this nature. Something went wrong with that game, and after that game, the elders and the angels, they gathered all the kids, and kids were coming from all around the way, and we went over to the Lucifer Cube while the Michael Cube was getting fixed, or the Michael Diamond. We got in the Lucifer Cube, and then we had to go to class for 1 year on how to learn how to play this video game of life that we're in. Okay? And we drew out of our hat what our specialties were going to be. You understand? And we had different things that we were going to go into fields and learn about and study, and that was going to be the course of our life. Then we went to a second part where there was 8 cubes, okay? 8 cubes. And they were broken down. The first cube was the technology cube. That's the one that I got inside of, and Aiko also got inside of. And there were others as well. Okay? You could pick which cube you wanted to go in and experience. Me and Aiko went in the technology cube, and we paired up with 2 dragons. Abe is one dragon, and the other dragon is John. Okay? And we were in a formation. Aiko was at the top. Abe was on the right hand side. John was on the left hand side. And then I was at the south end of, I was beneath Aiko. And we went to this, it was like an electric blue orange field, and there was guys in like 80s jumpsuits, you know what I'm saying, like flagging different carriers of individuals down. We went down through like this portal, and it contained all the time in it. And I think we did something like that, and that's how we got the cubes. And then I remember at some point we entered in through the right hand side of the screen on like a ledge in a dimension, and I was holding my sister, and on the other side it was spaceships. And what happened was the minions, there were other minions and the other creatures like me, we had a parachute down. We had little green army suits on. We were little minion people, like in Despicable Me. And then the aliens were on the other side, and they got loaded into the spaceships. And they were going to be in outer space, and we were coming down to Earth. We jumped down through that. And when you were going to be born, you entered into a square, and one half of the square, diagonal half of the square, it was blue. The other side was pink. If you landed on the blue side, you was a boy. If you landed on the pink side, of course, you were a girl. Okay, born into the world. Okay, then you had designated time slots of where you were going to be born. And die, I think. And that is the course that you would go through, and how your life would take form, and how you would get through those situations and circumstances. So these are memories that I have of home, of heaven, you know. We had a lot of good times, at home. We never wanted for anything, and in fact, we really didn't have any of these things that we had here. And we would talk a lot, But here in this world, man, it's like, with the targeting and the videos and things of this nature that I experience, I just want to say that in those videos I laid down, you know what I'm saying, the steps, you know, and people thought that I was being cocky and this, that, and the other, and I wasn't. You know, I was just saying it's levels to spiritual growth. And I had been growing a lot, and I was at a certain spiritual level. And I was just sharing what I had. That's it. That's all I was doing. The Bible was created before we came into the cube. All the kids were there. The symbiology and revelations and the different prophecies. He would ask us what type of creature we would want in there, and we would describe what type of creature we wanted. He would ask us the number of things, and we would pick certain numbers, and they had representations and symbols. And he said, if you follow this book, it was a big book by the end of after he got around to all of us, and then he knocked out, he took his hand and he tapped the top part of the book, and like several pieces, large chunks of this big book fell away, and it was as a puzzle piece in his hand. And he said, we don't need all those parts. I want to show you how strong the truth is. If you follow this book, okay, it will lead you into all truth. You will find your way. He said that to us. And that was something that was very interesting to us. It was the Bible. Before the Bible was created, before we even entered into the cube, he had already knew everything that was going to happen. Every single thing. He knew us all individually. You know? We didn't have names in heaven. We didn't even have names. But we all knew each other, and we had telepathy also. You know? Some of us, we were kind of some, you know, we some characters, some strong characters in heaven. You know? Very animated. We were very animated too. You know, expressive. As it says, the Holy Spirit is the spirit of expression. And with such expression that I have regained in my body. Growing in my relationship with God, I can tell you that the spirits and the way I express myself and your thoughts are written in scriptures could be spirits as well. That when I speak to you, that these words have life. It is wine and fire from my bosom. It is there to bless and anoint your mind. Expand your perception and perspective. Expand your awareness. Your understanding of things, to see the nature of things, is to know the spirit of a matter. And with this gift, one can become a great hunter, but then again, unless it's necessary, why hunt at all? Rather be proactive and help. Love for others is the ability to tell them the truth. And in our times, the truth has become inconvenient. And the only inconvenient truth is a lie. But the lie is so common, we're in a matrix of it. And our mind is sent in these schisms like prisons, and we sit in cubicles and houses with square pictures and walk through square door frames, looking at television. All these boxes and windows in systems with files and stereotypes. He that have an ear, can he hear? Let him listen. But comprehension would be the fruit of reading. And the fruit of that comprehension, knowledge. And knowledge applied becoming wisdom and experience. Seasonings on the inner workings and the mental fabrics of man. connecting with his reality, going beyond ration. Many things can be achieved through science, but science can never expand beyond God because science is the study of a subject. But God can't be quantified, so therefore we reverse engineer. Always going backwards is the traditional knowledge of man. Even though we think we ascended, boy, are we lost. Very seldom can I get a little bit of time in this physical prison, being stuck in my house, walking to the gym 5 miles, then walking back, measuring my time from muscle soreness, from exercise. I sit here from time to time when I'm allowed to smoke a vape. Let my mind escape this carnal state of existentialism. To let wisdom come down and spread like rays of light. These swords like rays cut through the darkness, eclipsing your mind into radiant light. Profound the thought. Its corners have no shadows. Expanding upon different valleys and gallows. Children and livestock moving like a ninja in the fog. Speaking on peace. Eloquent. My words are heaven sent like a dove. Wine and fire out of my bosom. Painting landscapes and textures across your cerebral cortex. Your first eye or your third eye be sitting there like a fetus in embryo. Umbilical to my mental listening to this audio, whether you understand it or not. I'm speaking to your spirit, not your brain. All things are possible with God. In no religious text is there any reason but to reason in favor of the things provided, to know yourself here and that you were the same back where you was from, because it is beyond time. Not getting lost in the sauce for a couple dollars. Money do a few things, people do a few things. Stranger, how do you know me? Is your knowledge darkly? Certainly, nobody knows a nigga for anything good. We look at a flower and we pick out the problems. Create formulas and chemistry, and we try to outdo God. In our knowledge, trying to live longer than wisdom, even though knowledge oftentimes is temporal, like the years of a man. Wisdoms are eternal, fabrics and textures, patterns and mathematics in this matrix. In this matriarch, my mind soars like an eagle over Napoleon. French in my expression, I'm expressing how I'm feeling. I'm sick with swagger for this thing, there's no penicillin. Are you trying to live? And how hard are you trying? And what does it take to try to live? And what are you doing for it? And how much does living cost? Seems you don't get no love unless you have insurance. But where here can you be insured of? Nothing for certain. Shadows and ghostly figures. Promises and handshakes. Shifty eyes and newspaper crinklings. Celebrity talk shows down to Ricky Lake. When I let my mind expand, people say that I'm schizophrenic. Schizophrenic means that you give a diagnosis because you don't understand, but there's no diagnosis for stupid, because stupidness isn't clinical, it's willingly. It comes willingly. People prefer the lie over the truth. But one thing I know is that lies don't make proof. Tried and true, no different than a matrix in a womb. From one seed into the egg, life is formed. Humans, though fallen, a part of the process. Isn't it intricate that I could look home in my heart? That I did not, though I did forget where I was coming from, I remember. Remembering the Father and remembering my brother and elder. All the way down here that Miles couldn't calculate for us. Meeting a fellow Christian, my sister Aiko, living with us. Meditating scriptures. They thought I was crazy. Speculating, coming down to battle of the sexes, a stumbling block of identity. When speaking of history and all of that knowledge I didn't know, they came up school. So there's many things that I see. And I've shared those things as a targeted individual. Miracles and epiphanies. Messages and signs that I thought were from God. That spoke to me but unbiasedly for all to hear, though I'm not a prophet. Prophecy is a gift of the Holy Spirit. Speaking the language in soliloquies. Wisdoms. Even in English, yet everybody can hear it. Looks like we've arrived to the upper church. Meditating on the keys of the kingdom. People are dying to live. Flint, Michigan went without water. Mankind looking humane. When times couldn't be any harder, but only looking, not being humane. You see, these are two different stories, and people get confused. By the way, it's a confusing day that we're in. People are choosing. None are looking for life, only self-interest and pleasure. Selfie shots, narcissistic pandemic, and it's spreading everywhere. And I'm sitting here scratching my temple, thinking of wisdoms. When can I go home? Seems like I've been down here too long. And as the story goes on, and the more I see, it's still the same. I'm only impressed with the things I'm unimpressed with because it's disgusting. Just to expand the release of my dopamine. Because this world is only changing for the worse, and I can see it coming. But in other ways, there's a silver lining, and I see hope in that same day. That things get worse before they get better. And they can be the best that they've ever been before. Placing all faith in the hands of God. These things are soliloquies and wisdoms. You sit and meditate on them like a parable. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. The words are decadent, dense for your mind. I might be deeper than you think or you ever thought of. Sharing these words that I get from God. Immerse yourself in like a glass of wine. Let it marinate on your mind. Understanding each epiphany, each line, each concept, each thing that I point out, noticing patterns in your surroundings and people you frequent, places you go, individuals you speak with, in times and places. Like holidays on seasons, it rotates again and again, and we wait for a leap year, but it never comes. When will you change? When will you wake up? Have a real conversation. Get your head outside of a personal video game. Connecting on the internet, sending a text message. Not in all ways are we blessed by advances in technology. While we play the game for instant gratification, we're slipping away and losing our imagination, only to become auto-response stimulated machines. What's the difference between a living being and a robot? People's intelligence fall as we get self-driving cars. It's one thing if we got them because they're an advancement. It's another thing if we got them because someone knew we would need it. This is chaos by design. Therefore, if it's by design, that would mean someone will be at fault. That doesn't mean that someone is the prime operator who operates in the spirit of puppet master. Rolling the neurons like the stars in someone's brain. placing in negative ideas and thoughts for you to pick and eat from. That those weeds that are terrible scour and take over your mind and blot out your vision. Niggas wake up tasting butterscotch and a black eye. They hold up the peace sign. But what type of peace are they speaking about? This peace could be no further wrong, and people are too quick to assume humans are gods, even though there's a celebrity named Demi Lovato. We couldn't be so blind. Vote her records out there for 5 stars. Stars. Like a Michelin restaurant. American Idol. Baphomet Sign Coagulant, the Masons. Steering the course of civilizations over time. Interdimensional control on a grid that we live on. 13th hour. That doesn't mean that all are wrong. Taking each individual as they come. Every idea and every thought. Observing before you edify yourself with everyone. Mixing in cultures with purity. Bad sign. Times and seasons. The way an individual thinks and how that individual cycles and how those cycles align with stars and those stars in the heavens. Man's mind wrapped around technology. Like a car wreck. Iron in the clay, one is bound to fall. If they both aren't already. By being and that being by design, by one that is fallen to begin with, and the morality of their mind in a collective. Taking the consciousness of man and putting it in supercomputers, creating Beelzebub, a step in the direction of the Wachowski. I'm not so sure about where we're going these days. Or how things can change. But I pray for the best resolve. I have to have hope and faith in the future. I'm invested in it. Peace and blessings be with you all.